Gothic cathedrals were never meant to be just places of worship. They were statements of cultural identity, faith, and community ambition. Each cathedral, from Paris's Notre Dame to Cologne's towering masterpiece, was a massive undertaking that required generations of artisans, masons, and architects. But these buildings weren't only physical achievements. They symbolized a society's devotion, aspirations, and unity. Imagine a medieval town where every citizen contributed, whether through labor, funds, or prayer, to complete a structure meant to stand for centuries. These cathedrals served as community focal points, market hubs, educational centers, and symbols of civic pride. Even today, they retain their power to inspire awe, representing human ingenuity and faith intertwined. The principles of Gothic architecture didn't fade when the Middle Ages ended. Instead, they evolved and reappeared in later movements, most notably the Neo-Gothic revival of the 18th and 19th centuries. During the Industrial Revolution, when cities were expanding and secularism was on the rise, architects sought a return to the spiritual grandeur of the past. Neo-Gothic brought pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and spires back into public consciousness. Structures like the British Houses of Parliament and New York St. Patrick's Cathedral showed that Gothic ideals of verticality and intricacy still resonated. This revival was more than nostalgia. It was a response to a rapidly modernizing world, a desire to reconnect with values of faith, craftsmanship, and artistic beauty. The Neo-Gothic revival blended medieval design with modern materials and technologies. Iron, steel, and glass gave architects new freedoms to reinterpret Gothic aesthetics on a grand scale. Take London's St. Pancras Station, where Gothic arches meet the functionality of a modern train terminal. Or Chicago's Tribune Tower, where Gothic spires crown a modern skyscraper. These buildings symbolized progress while honoring tradition. The Neo-Gothic revival demonstrated that Gothic principles of light, height, and spiritual aspiration could adapt to new needs. This blending of old and new created structures that felt both timeless and forward-looking, proving that Gothic design transcended its medieval origins. Even in modern architecture, the essence of Gothic design persists. Think about the towering skyscrapers of cities like New York, Dubai, or Shanghai. These structures may not have stained glass or flying buttresses, but they share the Gothic ambition of reaching for the heavens. The vertical thrust of a Gothic cathedral finds an echo in sleek glass and steel buildings that dominate contemporary skylines. Architects like Santiago Calatrava and Frank Gehry use innovative designs that emphasize height, fluidity, and light. Buildings like Calatrava's Turning Torso in Sweden reflect a modern take on Gothic ideals, twisting, soaring, and challenging gravity itself. Gothic architecture revolutionized the use of light in sacred spaces through its vast stained glass windows. These windows didn't just illuminate interiors, they transformed spaces into kaleidoscopes of color and light. In modern design, architects continue to experiment with light in innovative ways. Take the Louvre Pyramid in Paris or the ethereal spaces of Tadao Ando's concrete churches. Both use light to evoke emotions and create a sense of transcendence. This continued exploration of light as a design element, where illumination becomes a form of storytelling, stems from the Gothic tradition of using light to connect the earthly and the divine. The concept of verticality, the upward thrust of Gothic cathedrals, has influenced not only architecture but also modern art. Sculptors like Constantin Brancusi explored themes of endless ascent in works like Endless Column. These pieces capture the same aspiration as Gothic spires, the idea of reaching toward something higher, something infinite. Even abstract painters like Barnett Newman played with vertical lines to suggest spiritual elevation and limitless potential. The Gothic principle of heaven-reaching design therefore transcends architecture and finds expression in modern art forms that continue to explore themes of aspiration, elevation, and transcendence. The Gothic aesthetic has seeped into literature, film, and pop culture, maintaining its association with mystery, grandeur, and the supernatural. Think of the eerie, spire-laden castles in movies like Dracula or the Addams Family Mansion, which owe their haunting beauty to Gothic architecture. Video games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne immerse players in worlds filled with towering cathedrals, shadowy arches, and otherworldly spires. These modern interpretations use Gothic imagery to evoke feelings of wonder, dread, and curiosity. The Gothic remains a symbol of the human psyche's darker corners, where awe and fear meet. Today, Gothic cathedrals are more than relics of a bygone era. They are living symbols of human achievement. Structures like Chartres Cathedral or Milan's Duomo still draw millions of visitors who stand in awe beneath their vast naves and intricate facades. These buildings continue to inspire artists, architects, and everyday people. They remind us that architecture can be more than functional. It can be transcendent. The recent restoration efforts for Notre Dame show how deeply these landmarks are woven into our cultural consciousness. They stand not just as historical monuments, but as enduring testaments to our collective aspirations. The legacy of Gothic art and architecture is one of eternal ascent, a relentless reaching toward the sky, the divine, and the infinite. From medieval cathedrals to modern skyscrapers, from stained glass to abstract art, the principles of Gothic design continue to inspire. They challenge us to think beyond the limits of stone and steel, to consider what it means to strive, to dream, and to build. In every upward line, in every play of light and shadow, Gothic art whispers a timeless message, that the human spirit is forever reaching upward toward beauty, meaning, and the mysteries of the cosmos.